Hello again, gamers. Welcome back to the Board Game Captain. I'm the Captain.
And I'm Alex.
And today we're going to be reviewing and showing you how to play and talking about Daring Dustbunnies. So, Daring Dustbunnies was designed by Andy Hopwood, and I want to give a big thank you to the designer for sending us this copy of Daring Dustbunnies to be able to play and review. So thank you, Andy Hopwood, for this copy of Daring Dustbunnies. So before we get too into this review, I want to say I've got a bunch of links in the description down below that you can check out at your leisure. There's a link to my Teespring store where you can get shirts like this one that says, I drink and I game, it's what I do, as well as mugs and other Board Game Captain merch. Check it out in the description down below. There's also a link to my Patreon. If you're in a position to and would like to support the channel, head over to my Patreon. And there's a link to BoardGameCaptain.com, where it is a great hub for all things Board Game Captain, including a semi-regular blog that Lynn and I have been running. So, Daring Dustbunnies is for 2 to 5 players. It's listed as a 30-minute game and for ages 10 and up. So let's start there. So I like, now it does play at 2 to 5, but I like this best at like 3.
3 seemed, I've only played it at 3. Well,
I was gonna say you've played it multiple times.
Multiple times at 3.
Yeah. So, but I've played it. I feel like there's not enough variety in what's going on at 2, though it's still good.
Yeah.
And it gets a little too crazy and hectic at like 5. But so 3 is like where I feel like it's the optimal number of players, but it is playable at 2 through 5.
You want a little bit of variety. You don't, because a lot of it involves back and forth with other players. If it's just one other player, just do it. I could see that being a little getting a little repetitive after a while.
Now 30 minutes is a pretty good estimate actually, because you play 3 rounds of this race. It's kind of like a press your luck race game almost, and after 3 rounds go pretty quick.
Yeah, 30 minutes is, with 5 people, I think it would take a little bit longer, but I think 30 minutes is a good estimate.
The thing is, it's not really, because with more players, you're all still moving the same number of fluff balls.
Right.
So it still takes basically the same amount of time to get them all on the board, get them all spread out, get some sucked up by the vacuum.
Right.
And the rounds go pretty quick. Now, granted, it would be better if they gave a range. I think a good range for this might be 20 to 45 minutes, but 30 is right in the middle of that, so
sure. Yeah.
Not a bad estimate.
No.
10 and up, I'm actually right there with it. What do you think on that?
I think an 8-year-old could play this game decently.
I think some of the concepts are a little rough for younger kids, so I'm going to disagree. I'm going to say I'm actually in total agreement with
10?
the 10.
Okay.
But there's a bit of a disagreement there.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll split the difference and say 9.
9. Yeah.
9? All right, so let's have a look at what comes in the box when you get a copy of Daring Dustbunnies. So you've got a little Bernard's Words of Wisdom, which are a bunch of little tips that are really good to help you learn to play, as well as a full-on rulebook. Now, the rulebook is not bad at all. There are lots of full-color pictures, which help you to visualize stuff. I had a slight issue with the formatting, but once you're through it, you get it. It's fine. Yeah. And then it's got a great cheat sheet in the back to explain all the charms and the character abilities, which is really good. Because there's a couple of character abilities that I was like, oh, wait, how does that work? And you go and look them up, and you're like, oh, okay, because it's got a full explanation in the back. So that is good that they have that.
Yep.
Why don't you grab the next component?
Got our fate cards, which are also...
No, those are the character cards.
Character cards, I'm sorry. So these have all the different characters, and each character obviously has a different ability that impacts play.
Asymmetrical player power.
Right, so there you go, asymmetrical player power. So it's got, I think there's 10.
There's a lot, and they're really varied. I've played with almost all of them in various games of this so far, and there's some great freaking characters.
Yeah, they're fun little characters, and they've all got some theme that goes with the Dustbunnies theme.
Now I've got over here the fate tiles, and they all say fate on the back, and then on the front they have the different colors of the puff balls. Is that what they call them?
Fluff balls.
Fluff balls. Yeah. So the dust bunnies are each secretly given one of these, and that's the one you're trying to get closest to the vacuum without being sucked up by the vacuum in a little press your luck fashion.
And then these are the fluff balls. And this is what the Dust Bunnies are betting on, essentially, to win the race.
I love the faces.
Yeah, they got little faces. It comes with several little faces you can apply of various, evilness or whatever that is. So
we've got a bunch of these cardboard tile wire charms. They're pretty standard, and a bunch of little cardboard chits here.
Yes. And then what are these? Oh, these are the player tiles. So these are the. This is actually the board that you play on.
Yeah, show the rooms because there's lots of cool rooms.
So you got to start, which has got spaces for the different components of the game, and then each room has got, depending on which room you got, it's either got give, play, or move, and those are.
Oh, no, there's also take and dump.
Right, and then you got dump.
I love that they put dump in the bathroom.
At the bathroom. Flip is on this side. So, and you can play with any one of these rooms. The 3-player version uses 2 rooms plus the start.
Yeah, if you're playing 3 players, it's 2 rooms. But if you're playing 4 players or 5 players, you use 3 rooms. 3 rooms in addition to the vacuum and the start.
And the end is the vacuum, and this has 2 places you'll see when we do the tutorial.
So then we have a deck of cards that you use for your hand, and you're going to be seeing a lot of these out while we're playing, so I'm just going to skim through some of them to kind of show you what sort of cards you're going to see out there. Mostly they're colors and numbers, but there are some other ones in there. We're going to go over those while we're showing how to play. And then you have a deck of charms, which are extra cool special abilities that you can get and collect all sorts of amazing abilities during the game. And that's it. That's all the components. Now we're going to head over and we're going to run you through a full round of this game to show you how it goes. And we're going to come back after that and we're going to talk about how this game plays and feels. And we're going to rate it and review it. Okay, so here we are set up to play a 3-player game of Daring Dustbunnies. So I'm going to be controlling the first and second player. And I'm on this side of the table over here while Alex...
I'm over here.
And Alex will be controlling the third player. We chose to simulate a 3-player game because we really like this game at 3 players. I really like the variety that it adds having 3 people. I like it even more specifically than 4 players, but also adds a lot more variety, so I also like it better than 2. It's my favorite player count. So we decided to simulate a 3-player game. So in order to set up, you have to put your start room out, and then you have to shuffle up the different rooms, and in a 2 or 3-player game, you put 2 rooms out. In a 4-player game, you put 3 rooms out. There are extra rooms that are in the box that we are not using. And then you put the vacuum at the end there. You line up all of the fluff balls on the start line, and then you have to put the 3 metals of each color, gold, silver, and copper, on the start tile. You have to deal out 1 of the wire charms to each player. You deal each player 2 of the possible characters, and for the first round they're going to pick 1 character to play and put the other one face down, and each player gets a random fate. The fate is which color fluff ball they are betting on to be closest to the vacuum at the end of the round. You shuffle up the charms deck and the move deck and deal each player 4 movement cards for their hand. You also then place the cat in the first room and the dog in the last room, and you're ready to play the game of Daring Dustbunnies. So we are completely set up. So now we're just going to run you through some rounds, and we're going to explain the different actions we take and what they mean as we do them. So I'll be going first with my first player, but before we get started, I do want to explain what all of the abilities we have chosen based on the characters we have picked to play. So, player 1 that I'm controlling has chosen to be Cotton Reel. Cotton Reel says, once per round, you may reverse a movement card and send a fluff ball backwards. My second player is playing Moonlight Jack, which says when you play a 2, you may hide another card from your hand underneath it.
My player is Little Bud. Little Bud, special ability is you can play 2 movement cards of the same color as a single move of the combined value.
That's a great ability. So we're going to start off with Cotton Reel here for the first player. I'm going to look at my hand, and I have decided that I am going to play a 4 brown card. So now since it is a 4 brown, it moves the brown fluff ball 4 spaces. So I'm going to place it here next to the move. I'm going to take the brown fluff ball, and I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, which gets him up to the give, at which point I am going to give 1 of my cards to Alex and to get rid of it. And that's going to be it for Cotton Reel. Now I'm going to go with Moonlight Jack. So Moonlight Jack chooses to do play 2 talismans.
Whoa.
Now, if you have 2 talismans, you can play them at the same time to pick another player and guess what their fate is, what color they're gambling on. So having 2 talismans is good, but if you have only 1 talisman and you're forced to play it because you're running out of cards, then you have to reveal your own fate. So having 1 talisman is bad, 2 talismans is good. Moonlight Jack is going to guess on Cotton Reel's color being brown, since he just played brown. That is not the case. Cotton Reel is not betting on brown. So he says, nope, brown is not my fate. At which point, Moonlight Jack will be done, and it is Alex's turn.
All right, so I'm going to play 2 pinks using Little Bud's special ability.
Oh,
that
wow.
is a 6 movement. So
That's a lot of movement.
So pink's going to go from here all the way to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
And that's a take.
So I'm going to take one of...
Who?
Player number 2. Give me that one. All right.
Okay. Wow. Yeah, that was a thing. So, So going back to Cotton Reel here, Cotton Reel is going to play a blue 2 to move blue up 2 spaces, which gets him on the play. Now, play means I get to play another card. So he's going to play brown 3 and throw brown into the tube.
The Tube of Destiny.
Yes. Now, if a movement card takes you into the tube but would actually take you further, you must stop at the tube. Now, while in the tube, you're being sucked into the vacuum, but you could, if you are that player, you could still use abilities and charms to pull yourself back out of the tube. If you move forward while in the tube, you will go into the Bag of Beyond, where you are totally out for this round and will not be able to score any medals for this round. And in point of fact, if you go into the Bag of Beyond, you lose all medals you previously scored during this game. FYI, the game goes for 3 rounds. So if this happened, if you go into the Bag of Beyond on the final round, you're definitely not going to win the game. All right, so that is it for Cotton Reel, and that was all of Cotton Reel's cards, which means Cotton Reel must draw up a new full hand and gets to draw a charm. So I'm going to take my 4 cards for Cotton Reel here, and my charm. And my charm is Spinner of Switching. It costs 1 of the static. We each started with 3 static dealt to us. And it says, use an opponent's power for the remainder of this turn. That is really awesome. In addition, by the way, we all started with the Wire of Shocking, which I forgot to mention earlier. It allows you to spend all of your static, and if you do, you move 1 fluff ball backwards, a number of spaces equal to all of the static that you spent. So that is it for Cotton Reel. Now we're going to go on to Moonlight Jack, and Moonlight Jack is going to play the Dog's Bark, which activates the room that the dog is in, and it allows him to move 1 fluff ball in the dog's room backwards 1, 2, 3, or 4 spaces. So let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to move 4 spaces with pink, and the reason being, if you take a look here, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. We land pink on a space that already has another fluff ball. Now, when you land on a space that's occupied, you don't do the ability of that space. Instead, you get to take a static for each fluff ball already on that space. So that'll be 1 static that they will get to take. And remember, static is used to activate charms, so they're really, really good. Now, if there is no static yet here, because no one has spent any, you get to steal that static from another player. So what's going to happen is Moonlight Jack is going to steal a static from Cotton Reel, the first player. So now Moonlight Jack has 4 static, Cotton Reel has only 2. Moonlight Jack has used up all his cards. He's going to get a free charm, which he gets the Paintbrush, which costs 4 static and says, change the color of a movement card as you play it from your hand. Ooh, that is awesome.
That's a really good one.
Yeah, it is really good. And he's now got enough static to actually do it. And he's going to take 4 new cards.
Little Bud is just going to do... Wow, this is going to be interesting, actually. Green 2. I'm going to move green out of the starting spot. And he also ends up on the play area of the cat's room.
But he winds up specifically in a space that's going to get him 2 static. So who are you going to take your static from?
So I'm going to do 1 from each of you.
Oh, poor Cotton Reel's down to only 1 static. And Moonlight Jack has no longer enough static to use that paintbrush. A little rough.
All right.
Okay, so we're back to Cotton Reel here, unless you wanted to do the Wire of Fate, of course.
I do not. No.
Or the Wire of Shocking. All right, so in which case, Cotton Reel is going to play a black 2, and he's going to steal 3 static from you.
The table has turned.
Indeed. And that is going to be it for Cotton Reel's turn. Then we're on to Moonlight Jack. Moonlight Jack is going to play a 4 of yellow. Move the yellow up 1, 2, 3, 4, landing on the give. Now, with the give, he's going to give 1 card to Cotton Reel's player. And at this point, I want to take a moment to tell you how you trigger the end of the round, which you will see in a minute because we are going to play a full round. You have to have all of the fluff balls off of the start tile, which we have done. You also have to have at least 1 fluff ball somewhere in the vacuum, either the tube or the bag, which we have done. But the final qualification is that all the fluff balls remaining in the rooms must be on different spaces from one another. You can have more than 1 fluff ball in the vacuum, by the way, but very important, all the fluff balls in the rooms must be on different spaces from one another to trigger the end of the round before we award medals. So now it is Alex's turn.
All right, I'm going to use my Little Bud special ability to play blue 4.
Ooh.
1, 2, 3, 4.
And take.
Who has more cards over there?
Cotton Reel has 4.
I will take a card from Cotton Reel. What do we got here?
So Cotton Reel is going to spend 1 static and drop it into the static pool here for someone else to collect later to activate the Spinner of Switching. He's going to use it to take Moonlight Jack's ability, which says that when playing a 2, he can hide another card beneath his 2. So what he's going to do, he's going to play a 2. He's going to get rid of a second card by just putting it beneath it. He's going to do a 2 of yellow. The 2 of yellow goes up here, and then he immediately takes back the static that he just spent. Then we're going to move on to Moonlight Jack, who is going to play a black 3. Whoa. Move black up 1, 2, 3 to play, where he will play another card, which is the Cat's Meow. Move a fluff ball in the cat's room 1, 2, or 3 spaces backwards. So what he's going to do is he's going to take the blue and move it back 1 so he can steal 1 static. He's going to take 1 static from Cotton Reel, who has the most static right now. And then, because he has again gotten rid of all of his cards, he's going to get another charm. Wow. He gets the Marble of Rolling. He costs 2 static. Play an extra card from your hand, and he's also going to draw 4 more movement cards. He is on a roll with collecting charms.
Beginning of my turn, I'm going to do a charm.
Oh, you're going to use the Wire of Shocking?
So I'm going to give 2 static to use the Wire of Shocking.
And that lets you move 1 of the fluff balls back 2 spaces.
So that would be...
I do wonder if Alex is giving away which one might be his.
2. So I get to give a card.
Oh.
Which is going to be this card. It's going to go to you.
Oh, stop me from running out, are we?
And then I'm going to play a card, which is the Cat's Meow, which is move a fluff ball 1, 2, 3, or 4 more spaces forward in the cat's room. 1, 2.
And you got to give, but you're out of cards.
And
right.
That triggers the end of the game.
It triggers the end of the round. Yes. So in which case, because the end of the round has triggered, we give a medal to the yellow fluff ball. We give a silver medal to the blue fluff ball and the copper medal to the green fluff ball. At this point, we're going to reveal what fluff balls we were rooting for. So over here, Cotton Reel was rooting for black, which wound up all the way back there, and he did not do so good. And poor Moonlight Jack was rooting for pink, which wound up even further back, so he did not do so good. And tell me, Alex, did you get a medal?
Little Bud was yellow.
So Alex gets the gold medal. The other 2 get discarded. Now what happens is we're going to put all the fluff balls back to the start. And in moving on to the next round, we keep the same static, we keep the same charms we have earned, but we shuffle up the fates. We each get dealt a new fate. We shuffle up the movement cards. We each get dealt a new movement card. And then each player is able to decide if they would like to swap which of their 2 characters there are. So for instance, if Cotton Reel didn't want to be Cotton Reel anymore, he could switch to Jimmy and Jinx, which say take 2 cards from or give 2 cards to a single player when you use these powers. Wow. So yeah, it's pretty amazing. So there are a ton of different characters with a ton of different abilities. We play 3 rounds, and at the end of the game, the player who has accumulated the most gold medals, which right now would be Alex, wins the game. If there is a tie for the most gold, it's the most silver. If there's a tie for the most silver, then it's the most copper. If there's a tie for the most copper, it's the most charms. And if there's a tie for the most charms, it is the most static. So you really should not have a draw in this game.
Somebody should win.
So let's head back over. We're going to talk about how this game plays and how it feels, and we're going to rate it and review it. Okay, welcome back. That was how you play a game of Daring Dust Bunnies. So, all right, let's start with, do you have any negatives you want to talk about, glaring negatives with Daring Dust Bunnies?
No glaring negative. It's nothing big. It's a lighthearted game. It's not super serious. It doesn't take a whole lot of strategy or deep thinking.
No, this is a fun family way game.
Right. So if you're looking for a brain burner, this isn't it. This is a fun, family game.
You gotta. I was gonna say,
take it for what it is.
With any game, you gotta know what you're getting in for.
Right.
And if you're a hardcore gamer and looking for a war simulation or a hardcore abstract strategy game, or this is not the game for you. No. If you're looking for a fun, lighthearted game to be able to play with the whole family and possibly with kids specifically,
sure.
Or just with people who are into lighter games, because this is a much lighter, fun little. Beer and pretzels games.
It's accessible, and it's not going to intimidate anybody, and the theme is fun, so it's very easy to just throw out on the table without much preparation.
Yes. I don't really have any glaring negatives. There's a lot of randomness involved in what cards you get dealt, etc. But once you have them, there's a lot of strategy in choosing which ones you play, because it's not like you don't roll the dice for movement. You're picking the cards.
Right.
And then there's a lot of strategy for which character you're playing in a given round and what their ability is.
I love that there's a bluffing component to it. It's not a very big part of it, but it's that's not a very it's not present in very many games like this.
Yeah,
where there's fun family kind of game, but there's also bluffing involved. I think that's kind of a neat thing.
And I like the whole press your luck thing, where you're trying to get real close to the vacuum, but you don't want to fall in. And then if you go into the tube, you got to get back out, but you got to be careful not to give away what color you are by doing that, because maybe you do it for multiple of them, so nobody knows. Wait a minute. He helped the pink out and he helped the black fluffball out. Which one is he? Is he pink or is he black? But no, he's green.
Right. And there's also a bit of pressure luck in which cards you play, because if you're trying to hide who your fate is, which you obviously are, and you're trying to get rid of as many cards as you want because that's how you get your charm cards, but then you also end up with a talisman there. So then you get kind of screwed. So
and then you want to land on takes. You can try to get a second talisman, so you could guess on someone else's what someone else's fate is, rather than having to reveal your own, or land on give and just give the talisman away to someone else. Yeah.
Right. So there's many levels of strategy involved in this game. None of them are very deep, but there's a lot kind of going on, which is really interesting. I like it. It's fun.
So my favorite thing to do is to chain multiple effects to be able to get rid of lots of cards to be able to get the talismans quickly. I love being okay, I'm going to move this many spaces, which then I land on a play space. So I'm going to play another card and move another fuzzball this many spaces, and then he's going to land on a dump space, and then I'm going to dump another card, and look at that, I got rid of 3 cards in one turn.
Right. Well, and you saw how I played that last move in the
game.
In the game when we just showed you how to play it, and it's chain together a couple cards, use the cat to move somebody, and just all of a sudden everybody we had 3
spread them out,
3 fluff balls on one space, and then spread them out like that, and then the game's that triggers the end of the round. So it's not just a shoots and ladders game.
And you want to trigger the end of the round when your fluff ball is in the lead, which is exactly what Alex did. I thought I had more time, so my fluff balls were nowhere near the lead. And then Alex spread it out with his fluff ball in the lead and was like, oh yeah, I get the gold medal. And that's how you do it.
Yeah.
That is how you win the game of Daring Dust Bunnies. That whole thing is so satisfying when you can pull it off right.
Yeah,
the right combination of card plays to be like, oh, and I get the gold medal.
Yeah, that's right. Yes.
And that's what's really cool about this. So all right. Anything else you want to talk about with Daring Dust Bunnies?
No, I think we got it.
I want to throw out just a real quick. I love now the artwork is very simple, but I like it, and I really like the fun look of all the characters quite a bit. I think they're awesome. I love all of the different Dust Bunnies. I think they're really adorable, and I really like the theme. It's very tongue-in-cheek. It's very humorous.
Right.
It goes with the light feeling of the game. This definitely the theme and the artwork definitely feels like a family weight game to me. So it really fits the weight of the game. So I
Yeah.
do want to throw that. I really like that.
Yeah, it's funny. It's humorous. You know, the end of the line is the vacuum.
Yes.
If you're a dust bunny.
Yes. So, okay, I'm going to go first on the rating.
Good.
I quite like this game. I think this is a lot of fun. I'm going to give this 7.5 stars out of 10 because I thoroughly enjoy it. You do need to have the right crowd to play it. Again, if you're playing with people who are into, you know, heavy simulation games, they're not going to be into this. But if you're playing with people who like lighter family weight games or enjoy playing beer and pretzels games or playing with kids who like lighter weight games, this is a great icebreaker level game.
Yeah.
Or maybe just above icebreaker level game to pull out on game night. And yeah, so 7.5 stars. I really enjoy it.
I was going to be at 7.5 myself. That's exactly what I was
Oh,
thinking.
great minds think alike.
There you go. Yeah, very well done. You were right.
Oh, you heard it here first. I was right.
You were right. Yeah, 7.5. Like everything you said. It's if this is the game, or if this is you're looking for a game to play, you know, Saturday night with the family, and you're sick of playing all those old crappy ones you played as a kid, go get this, and you're gonna have a lot of fun.
Yeah, so definitely, we can definitely recommend it to you. If anything we talked about sounds really fun, interesting, and you agree that you fit the bill for the kind of person that plays with the kind of group that we're talking about, then yeah, this would be a great game to add to your collection. I'm going to put a link in the description down below to Andy Hopwood's website where you can buy this. So yeah, go check it out and pick up a copy. And I think they just won an award. I think I just saw on the internet that he won a UK Games Expo award for Daring Dustbunnies, which I think is his second award, because I think Andy Hopwood won an award when he came out with Mindleaf.
No kidding.
So I think this is his second award from UK Games Expo.
So you could have an award-winning version of
so,
this.
yeah, big congrats to Andy Hopwood for that, by the way.
Good job.
There you have it. If you enjoyed this review and tutorial and you'd like to see us do more like it, be sure to give this video a like, share it on all forms of social media, and if you haven't already, please subscribe to the Board Game Captain. That's Captain spelled with a K on YouTube. And until next time, game on.